One of the most anticipated games of 2025 is set for early access on March 27th at 10 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. That's my local time zone. And I am 100% positive that the way we play life simulation games, it's going to be changed forever. So I want to take the time to talk about everything that has transpired since InZOI's last playtest that occurred in the summer of 2024. But before we dive into what we know about InZOI so far, happy time zone. I see you over there. You're hydrated, you're glowing, and that looks so beautiful on you. My name's Ivory, and I would like to take the time to welcome you into my comfy space on the internet, My Gameplay Diary. Let's take it back to the summer of 2024. InZOI had a playtest, and this playtest single-handedly changed everyone's perception of the game, because before then people actually thought this game was like a fake AI ad. And you know, psych, this is a real game, joke's on you. You'll actually be able to play it, and it's a very real thing that's coming out. And we got to even witness a variety of gameplay from, you know, different creators with different play styles, and I was really shocked at how much they poured into their creators. They sent them new PCs, they sent them some InZOI merch, and it wasn't like cheap stuff either. It was very nice stuff. So it was refreshing to see. And, you know, from their gameplay, I was like, oh, I need InZOI. This game will fix every problem that I have in my life. So I took the time to try out the public character creator, and you'll probably see some older videos of mine of like shorts and long form content with all of the Zois I got to make. And I actually made a very unhealthy amount of Zois in a short period of time. However, I have zero regrets. The previous playtest did show that while the game was amazing, there was a gap for improvement. But thankfully, the dev team was nice enough to open a wish list, and y'all flooded that Discord so fast with everything that you would like to see from InZOI. And I admire that they not only gave us room to have this wish list, but they actually took the time to review it and address different things that people suggested, which kind of feels rare in the game development space. Sometimes it feels like you're talking to a wall and not a development team. So I was very impressed that, you know, they did this and they opened up this line of communication with their community. There were so many things on the wish list that they are implementing, but some of my favorites are, first of all, in the base game, your Zois will be able to react to the weather. That's not going to be something that we have to wait for. It's not going to be a DLC. So your Zois will have to dress accordingly for the weather, or they will unalive. I don't know if they'll unalive. I guess we'll just have to wait and see. Also, we're going to have more dramatic fights. So the fights were a little bit slapstick before, but now there's going to be more emotion involved in the fights, and we'll be able to learn who won that squabble up. It's going to be more immersive, because who doesn't need an enemy in life? You know, your Zois do need nemesis. So I think that for me, messy gameplay, dramatic gameplay is just super fun. That's just my personal preference. So the fight feature actually speaks directly to me. And another thing from that wish list that they are working on, and this is something that they touched on in the AMA, which I want to talk about some of that in a separate video, but they address pets, and the world in InZOI is just filled with the cutest little animals, especially the little cats, and I want my Zois to be able to adopt all of them. However, I noticed though in the demo playtest that you couldn't adopt a pet, but the dev team confirmed that they are going to take that seriously, and sometime in the future, we should be able to adopt pets, but as of right now at early access, it will not be available. And I admire that, because they want to ensure that, you know, we're going to get a feature that is really fleshed out versus something that's buggy. So I don't mind them taking the time to implement a pet system. And I'm just curious to see if it's going to be a base game update, or is this going to be paid DLC, especially since the game is in early access. Either way, I have no qualms about swiping my card for, you know, pets or any other DLC that they throw our way, because it's really clear that they're focusing on attention to detail, and they're not going to just, you know, sell us something empty just so that we give them our money, but, you know, they're trying to provide us with a quality game and quality gameplay. So I'm fine, you know, if I have to pay or if it's free. With everything that we've seen so far from inZOI, the base game actually seems super immersive, and like there's going to be a lot of features for us to enjoy, especially the building portion. It wasn't too long ago that they released this video of Squid Games inspired like backroom content on their TikTok. I was scrolling TikTok and I saw it, and my jaw was on the floor because the amount of like customization that was in that build, like short, just that little snippet of a video amazed me, and it really opened my eyes to how much freedom we're going to have in terms of building in the game. Another thing that was confirmed by the dev team is that we will no longer be able to build infinite floors in inZOI, which is mind-boggling to me. Infinite floors. They capped it at 30, which is still wild to me. Like, I can't wrap my head around that, but I really can't wait to see the skyscrapers that people come up with. You know, the idea of running a game that's going to have to load and render a 30-floor building kind of scares me. Just a little bit. Mind you, I'm running on a 2060 Super that was built in 2020. I don't really know how my PC is going to handle inZOI. I didn't experience too many problems with the character studio, but I want to be able to enjoy the gameplay without worrying about my PC and if it's going to melt or catch on fire. But inZOI did confirm that the game is going to be optimized so that a larger range of people will be able to enjoy it. So if you have a video card that comes, you know, anything that's after the NVIDIA GeForce GTX 1080 or the Radeon RX 5600, you should be okay. You're also going to need 16 gigabytes of RAM, but that's just the minimum requirement. You won't be able to enjoy, you know, the game in all of its graphic glory, but you would be able to participate in some fun gameplay. So I'm glad that the game is going to be accessible to more of us, because I know a lot of you, especially in my community, we've all been craving for a new life simulation game for the longest time. And what inZOI is presenting to us here is very promising, especially the feature that I want to take the time to talk about that they added, which I'm assuming is why they pushed back the early access, because this is actually going to be one of the driving features that completely transforms life simulation games and how we play and interact with them, because we're about to abolish all NPCs with boring, mundane lives and personalities in 2025. So NVIDIA and inZOI partnered up, and we're going to have smart Zois. So they'll be ushering in the small language model, also called the SML, to inZOI. And it's going to break away from the traditional and repetitive NPC behaviors that we're so accustomed to in life simulation games. With the SML, Zois are going to have perception, and they're going to be aware of their environment. So the way that I'm thinking of it is that the Zois are going to be able to retain these memories and learn from their daily experiences. And they'll also start to develop personalities. You know, each personality should be unique. So in theory, as I'm thinking about this out loud, no two Zois should be the same. So Zois are going to have like inner thoughts, internal monologues that are going to dictate how they engage with the world and Zois around them. And I can only fathom that it's kind of like your Zoi developing their own behavioral pattern. And this is really huge because, I mean, honestly, let's be real here. Most simulation games get boring after a while because the NPCs are like super robotic, and you know, you already know what to expect out of them, and they get repetitive after a while. And this smart Zoi is just something that I never would have thought of in a game. I don't think we've ever seen this before in any life simulation game. And I'm just in awe how, you know, the dev team was able to come up with this with NVIDIA. And I respect it, you know, they took the time to refine the game, and what we're going to get is just something that's going to be so new and so just novel that I don't even know like how to approach the game, but I know I can't wait to get my hands on it. So I'm amazed. I'm amazed at all of the changes that, you know, the dev team did take the time to work on, and all the feedback that they used to make these changes so that the game is better. And I'm super excited, and I can't wait to see how they implemented these things, but I'm also a little bit nervous. There are some other changes that we really don't have a lot of clarity on yet. So back in the summer, I did, you know, enjoy a lot of inZOI content from the content creators that they worked with. I was watching on Twitch and I was watching on YouTube. I really couldn't help but to notice, like, how do I say, like, they're all, you know, they all have different play styles, but one thing that was super common, a theme that I noticed in their gameplay, was that the game kind of teetered heavily on the side of being like a utopia, where everything was just like comfy, cozy, squishy, happy, kind of cookie cutter. And while that may be an ideal style of gameplay to some people, that's just not how I like to play my game. And I think that was a common thing that they got in feedback, that the game did seem too utopia-like. And for me, it's just like, I kind of don't want my Zoe to have to wait to be married to spread her 𝐻𝒶𝓅𝓅𝓎 𝒯𝒾𝓂𝓐𝑒, to have a baby or just be intimate with another Zoe. That's just, you know, that's not going down on my PC. That's kind of not the gameplay that I'm hoping for. I don't know, it's just like the idea of playing a game where everything just seems so cushioned. It felt unappealing at the time, but they did say that they worked on some things to make it less of a utopia and make the game more realistic. So I'm curious to see how that has changed. And another thing that stuck out to me, a major call out, was the lack of body diversity. If you wanted to make a Zoe that was plus size, it was kind of impossible. As a curvy woman myself, I was a bit bummed out about that, I'm not gonna lie. I couldn't make my Zoe self fully represent me. You know, I am, if you've ever seen me in real life or seen a picture of me, I am a stallion. I am a thick girl. I was a bit bummed out about it, but again, like, all of these concerns, they come from the previous version of the playtest, and I'm sure they made a lot of changes. Considering, like I said before, they pushed back the early access date, and they even addressed, you know, the lack of body diversity, and they advise us that that is something that they will be working on. Now, I hope that with these new changes, that we are provided with endless hours of gameplay, because, you know, life simulation games is something that we do in our free time, whether you're streaming it or you're just playing it by yourself and, you know, you're in a Discord call playing with friends. It's something that we want to play and be in a time warp and play for hours. So I'm really excited for this game. One thing that I would really love to see from the dev team is I would love to see a world that represents people of African descent, whether you take inspiration from Lagos, Cape Town, New Orleans, Nairobi, or even an island like Jamaica or Barbados, something, you know, like, I would love to see that happen. In the AMA, they did address the lack of Black hairstyles, and they said that that's something that they took a mark on, and now we're going to have a variety of Black hairs, and I truly cannot wait to see them. I cannot wait. And I don't really know what else to expect outside of that, but, you know, March 27th will be here before we know it, and I am so happy because I have been thinking about inZOI nonstop. Like, I kid you not, since this playtest, every week I'm like, ugh, where's inZOI? When is it coming out? I was a little bit sad when they pushed back the early access. However, I feel like everything that they have told us since then, I really think that that was the best decision that they could have made, because once this game comes out, this is all I am going to play. I can assure you, I do have some other things that I do here on the channel, but that's going to get less and less because if inZOI is going to be the game that I think it's going to be, I'm completely diving in head first. So if you want to see more inZOI content to quench your thirst until then, I do have some videos. I have some shorts, and then I have some character creation videos on this channel here. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up. That lets YouTube know that you like the video, and that helps me out as a creator. Also, if you want to support me and my 2 dogs that I feed with, my YouTube videos, I actually don't feed them with my YouTube videos. I'm just being dramatic. But, if you want to support me, Nappa and Aria, consider joining this channel as a member. Instead of the subscribe button, you'll see a join button if you're on your PC. But if you're on mobile, there will be a link in the description box. And that just helps to support me as a creator as I continue to work on these YouTube videos that I love and that you get to enjoy. Other than that, I do want to say thank you for your time. Be sure to be kind to yourself, stay hydrated, and I will catch you in the next video. Bye.